Greetings and welcome to Hexed and Countered. I'm Joe. In this video, I'm going to be doing a first look at a game that we'll be doing in September, which of course is the month in which World War II began in Europe with the invasion of Poland by Germany. This will be a fairly quick one because this is an expansion, and it is an expansion for Old School Tactical Volume 5. It is First to Fight, Battle for Poland 1939. It is designed by Shane Logan, published by Flying Pig Games, and it is a Mark H. Walker game. And as I mentioned, this is an expansion for Old School Tactical Volume 5, which covered the Battle for France in 1940. This takes the action to Poland as the first glimpse of the Blitzkrieg took place. So let's take a quick look at the back before we dig in. And you can see it says, the world stands on the brink. In the early morning hours of September 1st, 1939, the German war machine rolls across the Polish border. First to Fight, the expansion for Old School Tactical Volume 5, plunges players into the brutal opening chapter of World War II. Command German or Polish forces in fast-paced, squad-level tactical battles where every decision matters. So this is, well, it's got a massive or huge 30 by 41-inch mounted game board with 1-inch hexes, kind of standard for the series. 2 die-cut counter sheets of 3/4 inch and 7/8 inch counters. The bigger ones are the vehicles. 17 unit data cards, a full color playbook with 14 scenarios, and it does require, of course, Old School Tactical Volume 5 to play. It is for 14 and up, 2-player game, playing time 45 minutes to 5 hours. Let's take a look inside the box. All right. Here are the unit cards. I'll take them out so you can have a quick look. I did a first look and some gameplay from the base game, so that would contain the rules, of course. But if you're familiar with the series, it is pretty much, you know, well within the realm of what you've played before. So, if you've not seen these before, these are the unit cards that cover the various types of units in the game with information on them, so you can have a good idea of what the unit's capabilities are. For the vehicles and anti-tank guns and things like that, this is really, really good to have because it gives you its front and flank defense, its HE firepower, its secondary firepower, the range, and then you get the 2 hit numbers and the AP firepower for the various ranges. This is a tracked vehicle, as you can see. Got an armored train here. That's an interesting twist on what we usually see, right? So we can kind of go through some of these, and you can see these are Polish weapons, of course. Trucks, AT guns, anti-tank rifle. Here's a cavalry squad. So this would be, of course, non-vehicle, and you can see what the counter looks like, its firepower, range, and defense, and notes about it, as well as its movement allowance, of course. KOP squad, same thing. Poor quality. So you can see they get a -1 in melee and a -1 for rally. Here's a leader, Sergeant Kostecki. Medium machine gun, sniper unit, and a blank. I've never seen a blank before, but that's interesting. Now we have some German Marines, Stug 3B. Excuse me. Assault squad. And the other, now you might say only 3 cards for the Germans. Well, these are the 3 new cards for the Germans. You would expect the Polish to have many more cards because the Polish are not in the base game, but the Germans are. So most of the German units have their cards in the base game. So here's our playbook. We'll take a quick spin through here and see what the scenarios are. So you get the theater terrain with images. I love the fact that you get the images because it shows you what it looks like, so you don't have to worry about it. Over here you have your 14 scenarios. Right. Nice description here. I won't read it. We'll do, when we do gameplay, I'll maybe go through some of this stuff for you guys. Okay, theater units and rules. Let me put this down. It might be easier. And it won't be shaking and moving around on you. So specific units for this theater, you've got motorcycle units for the Germans, got cavalry for the Poles, of course, some vehicles with machine guns and the armored train, cavalry charge and cavalry combat. Then it gives an example here of how a Polish cavalry squad declares a charge. Melee phase, which is when you would resolve the cavalry charge. You can see there are charge markers. I'm sure we'll see those in a moment. And so on. And then you've got a little bit of the research that was used, the material used when developing the game. Got a list there of some books. And then we've got our scenarios. So you've got first shots on the very first day in Westerplatte in the Free City of Danzig. The Ruse, same day. Wielkie Zdroje, I think, Poland. Blitzkrieg, same day. So a lot on the first. Draw sabers. This one is going to have cavalry in it. 15 cavalry units. Second day, clash at Mokra. Polish corridor on the 3rd. Rolling Panzers also on the 3rd. Radom Crossroads on the 8th. So if you're not familiar with the way the scenarios are laid out, it's pretty straightforward. You get your number of turns, what map you're using, which is likely the map that's in the box, the map coordinates. Then you've got the hexes that you need to control for victory, what offboard assets, in other words, artillery or sometimes airstrikes. So you can see you've got the Germans get an artillery strike on turn 9, the Polish get an artillery strike on turn 7. In this game, turns count down, so 9 would occur earlier than 7. It would be the second turn. That's just I guess, a design choice by Shane Logan. And why? I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I had a question on a previous video. I think it was actually for Old School Tactical Volume 5 about why, but that's not a question I can answer. But I don't have a problem with it either. And we have special rules, your victory conditions, and then you get your forces and the layouts. So what they are, when they enter, where they enter, etc. And then impulse dies, you get an added die or a certain number of dies that you roll here. You can see for impulse points for the Germans, they roll 1d6 and add 4. But obviously when turn 8 comes, they're going to gain another impulse die and then another one on turn 6. The Polish also gain. They have 1d6 plus 3, but they'll get 1 on turn 8 and an additional third one on turn 5. And then your gut check numbers, which are identical for both of these. And that's basically like a route for use for rallying and so on. Poland strikes back, so we're going to have a counterattack, I'm guessing. Polish forces west of the capital launched a daring and unexpected counterattack in the early morning hours of September 9th. Troops of the Poznan army under General Tadeusz Kurczyba, joined by remnants of the Pomorze army, surged across the Bezura River to strike the exposed northern flank of the German 8th Army. Barricade the door, guts and grenades in Lvov. Here, fairly late in the campaign. Last train to Lvov. Campinos Forest is your last one. And then a nice poster on the back. Okay, so let's take a look at our counter sheets. And I accidentally punched one out, so let me pop that back in. So here is our counter sheet, and you can see we've got your leaders up top. Then you got some tank crew for when they get bounced out of their tanks. Lots of cavalry squads, as you can see. This is a squad level tactical game. Rifle squads, the KOP squads, and then your various support weapons, anti-tank rifles, light machine guns, Molotov cocktails, satchel charges, anti-tank guns, field guns, medium machine guns, air and off-board artillery, snipers, etc. Then your vehicles, everything from your armored train through your armored car type things and trucks and so on and so forth. And of course, everything does have a backside, as you can see. All right. Then we'll get the Germans and some markers on this one. So obviously there'll be less Germans because the Germans, as I mentioned earlier, their stuff is in the base game. So you get a bunch of Marine squads here, a couple motorcycles, a couple rifles, a Pioneer, and an assault, and then the rest of it is support. And we even have some Polish units on this one as well. Then you've got your markers. So you've got a roadblock marker here, rubble, wire, foxholes, cover, etc. Turn markers, victory point markers, and impulse and casualty markers, because you track all of that stuff. Here are our shaken, and on the back you'll have broken, charge markers, and control markers with the Poles on one side and the Germans on the other. And then your German vehicles, some of the very early Panzer models, Panzer 35s here, some 38s, and then Panzer 1s. So, oh, and we do have some Panzer 4s over here. So some of the, at that time, state of the art Panzer 4Cs. And then you've got some armored car type things, and the Panzerjäger, and so on and so forth, right? And then trucks. And again, backside. All right. Last but not least, let's take a quick look at the map. And I'm going to pause here so I can broaden the shot. Now this is a big one, and you can see it's got a more earth tone look to it. And obviously this is a somewhat generic kind of map. It is not, it is large, which you're only seeing basically maybe this is the middle, top to bottom. So this would be one side, and these are where you would track your impulse points and so on. Casualties and turns and all that stuff gets tracked on these various markers. Here's the turn marker, the turn track over here. You do have terrain along the side so that you can see what the terrains are. This is map 12, which you probably cannot see. It says right there, map 12, right? So you can see all the various types of things here. This is a wheat field. Here, there's railway over here. You've got some hills, of course, some dirt roads along here, open terrain, of course. This is marsh, woods. There should be some shell holes somewhere. I'm looking. I don't see them offhand, but I'm sure they're here. Here they are down here. Probably off shot, actually, but there are some shell holes. So basically the way it typically works is they'll tell you use a certain portion of the map. So you get a feel. And then, of course, if you really wanted to play something large, you have the entire large map to use. Typical quality, big hexes, really nice. Typical Flying Pig Games quality. So one more thing I wanted to show, since I got this in when I backed the Kickstarter. This is an add-on for the add-on, so to speak. And this is Old Enemies. And this is the Soviet invasion of Poland. So the old stab in the back on the 17th here. And to use this, I think you need to have Old School Volume 1, first or second edition. In fact, you do have to have that. Let me zoom in here. To get the Russian counters, right? The Soviet counters. So the Soviets, of course, made the deal with the Germans that they were going to split Poland in half between them, basically. And they followed through by invading on the 17th. So you get some bonus stuff here, as long as you have Old School Volume 1, which I do. So you can play these here where you get, what is this, an extra 5 scenarios where you can play with the Russians against the Poles. So that is that. All right, so that will do it for this one. I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. This will, of course, be one of the first games done in September. I did want to give kind of a preview. I may do another one next week on another game I'm going to do in September. September is going to be kind of a little bit of a catch-all. I have plans. I won't reveal them yet. I might save that for the end of the month, kind of a September preview. But I do have some games. I have some new ones that just arrived as well, and some that I've had for a while. But we're going to finish wrapping up World War I month here on the channel for August. So that is what's coming up here in the next couple weeks and then September. But for now, we're done. As I said, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section. While you're here, I hope you will consider liking, sharing, hyping the video, or perhaps subscribing to the channel if you're not already a subscriber. And if you are, thank you for that. It is appreciated. Quick shout out to my channel members. We have 2 levels, Hexed and Countered. You can click the join button to get information on how that works. There is no obligation by clicking that button. It just gives you the info. So until next time, that's it for us here at Hexed and Countered. I'm Joe. And until that next time, happy gaming.